Okay, awesome. So I hope everyone can see my screen. I don't know. Recon. Awesome, awesome. So okay, so I'll be just be running this tool, so we can at least do away with some of these old results. I would call them. Then we can start on a clean slate. So for this session, I hope I'll be getting some suggestions from you guys. So as Redmi said, this is how we get to run app.py. So sorry, skipped the introduction because I don't believe, or rather, I do not expect someone not to know me. But if that's still needed, I'm Kelvin. But popular you guys know me as K0imet, and the session for today is quite simple, or rather, uh, just introducing this new tool. So I don't know, I released it a few days ago. Uh, the feedback I've gotten, maybe some additions to features, etc. here and there, but yeah, it's pretty positive so far. And so the reason why I'm showcasing it is because I believe it could be helpful to some of you. Of course, not everyone, but as if it does help someone, that's still okay with me. So we have 17 stars, 5 fox. I hope to be expecting maybe some new requests from these guys on to match some of these maybe features they have added. And we can start with a basic introduction of the tool, what the tool does basically. So the motivation behind the tool was to, I don't know, it was mostly to automate mostly what I would do when I'm doing a pen test or either trying to some maybe I'm trying to recon on some bug bounty platform. So in this case, most of these tools I would run them separately. Maybe subfinder, save the results into a TXT, pass that TXT to DNSX, and maybe get some results. If I want to go directly to Nuclei, just run it through. But unfortunately, you still need to get like some nmap scans. Maybe if nmap is a little slow, you can use mascan. And I think around here you should also have Nabu, but unfortunately on this VM that I'm currently using, I wasn't able to install it successfully. But to integrate the modules, it is simple, so I think we can go through that in a few. Then maybe after getting the ports, so we could have that in a separate folder. But again, then we need to maybe do something on technology. So that's where I would use web analyze. I can mute. Andrew, for meeting you. We can proceed. So web analysis is what I would say it's mostly similar to what you have on Opalizer, but it's hard to get Opalizer working on CLI. So the modules that I found were not working as planned, so I had to use this one. It's pretty cool, but again, I think HTTPX pretty much does the same. Will be better, but just for the complexity and also from the I don't know, one might miss something. Then you have HTTPX. So again, after Subfinder, maybe you want to figure out whether there are some live, what call live hosts. In this case, maybe they have a web browser behind them. So these I would specify these specific ports. Then you have JS, does the same thing pretty much to sub.js. So just adding some complexity in case we miss something with sub.js. So this is for JS file discovery and also parsing. Then you have GF. So this was a grep. I don't know. There's a wrapper around grep. This is whereby you can grep for certain parameters. So this was a tool I think by Tom Nom Nom, if I'm not wrong. I can stand corrected. Then we have link finder. So once you pass your JS files and maybe you have collected them, you want to find out if there's some directories that you're missing. So again, I don't know. So as you can see in my tool here, or rather this tool that we have currently, we are missing the functionality for brute force, probably directory brute force. So as you can see, we don't have any FF, we don't have dir search. Again, as I said, the tool is open source. I'm looking forward to collaborations from you guys, and we can do some awesome things. And then from there we have to FactJS. So it is an alternative or replacement for Secret Finder. So initially when I was developing the tool, I okay, I have to answer that later. Apologies to that. So yes, so I was talking about fact. Yes, so this I believe it's more like the Go alternative for Secret Finder. It's well maintained and recently updated. As I don't know, I saw it in the group when Dr. Bright shared it, but it's pretty cool. Then we have Subdover. So this is for subdomain takeovers. So experimented with several other tools, DNS check, etc. So they didn't quite fit what I was looking for. Then we have Param Spider. So I think this is for parameter discovery. So I can get to discover some of the hidden parameters. Some may be obtained from the web archive, like that and like that. And now we have a mass also for subdomain discovery. So what I'm doing here is I'm combining Subfinder and also a mass for this one. Then so other things that I had set, so I think this one for SQLite timer, this is a function that I had introduced, but it was quite hard to pass the results. So I did away with it for now. But if someone can get I don't know, can make it work, I would be pleased, and also would like to maybe jump on that. So okay, with that, I think now we can start with our tool. So yeah, so I'm not that creative, so don't judge me for not having a creative name for it. But so yeah, from here now we can. So I I start. Maybe you can just navigate and see how each functionality works. So you can start with the project. So as you can see, now project has been loaded for reconnaissance. So in this case, you need to first create like a project that will be that you want to recon. So based on the tools that we have seen in the previous tab, then we come here. We are like, okay, so how do we create a project? So I don't know. So this is supposed to be live. I don't know which platforms would allow us to run this, but since it's not actively scanning, unless now you're using this scanner module. So this scanner module, I think I show you. I still do a demo on it, but you can start again in the project. So someone to volunteer domain, at least something that we know has what do we call them? Nested domains or the star dot something. So someone to drop one in the chat so that we can probably go through together. Maybe now create a project for it and also get to see how the tool performs basically, and whether it would help you in your pipeline or maybe yeah, basically for PTs and also bug bounty. Anyone, you can also unmute and maybe mention the project, or rather, yeah, we just need a project name here, then we'll get the domain and we can proceed. Anytask.com, that's one of the suggestions that I'm getting. So, okay, let's first check them out and see whether they have a bug bounty in any, so that we don't find ourselves on.
Yeah, it is there on background.
Okay, awesome. So, do they have the all dots? But anyway, let's just take it anyway. So be like we have any task, we create the project here. So now if we go to projects, you'll have this. So the current active project. So once you create a project, if it's only a single project, you can get to load the project. So as you can see now it's loaded. So if you now go to our projects page, this is what we get. So in the results for this project, again, basic information about that. We have created the project. Now we can now go to the dashboard. So you can see now the project. So the results, or rather anything that we run, should be visible here after we run them. So This will be summaries on subdomains, open ports if we need to. I find this very noisy, so I haven't haven't tested the functionality yet because I know it's very noisy and how to use. Wouldn't recommend basically unless you're using some passive tools and maybe some faster tools like Nabu and. Well, still, for some bug bounty platforms, they still require you to use maybe some specific user agents and also some requests. I don't know, some maybe 2 to 3 requests per second. Then you have vulnerability. So this the current tool that I have implemented is Nuclei. So since we cannot run this actively on some on a live target like any task as one of us has shared, we can use one of the honeypots from Project Discovery. So I think it is I don't know. I don't know whether this is right, but we just see it. Yes. So we'll be using this for showing how the nuclei will work and how this tool gets to pass that data. So okay, without much further ado, so we get to see the results here. So let's start. So the domain that we have is anytask.com. Then we click on enter. So the first and basic scan that we maybe want to do is maybe run a subdomain scan. So we can give this a few minutes. Shouldn't take that long. I believe I've mostly closed most of my tabs, but yes, we just be sure. Yeah, yeah, nothing heavy running on my background, so that should be okay. And where we get to see. Yeah, so basically for this might take some time, but again, I'm multi-threading on a VM, so it's not a good idea because of the limit of resources. But if you have a faster server, faster VPS, yeah, pretty good to go. Yeah, I think you're almost there. This doesn't have that many subdomains per se. Okay, so cool. So this is what now. So I don't know which it is with the names, but so these are the domains that were discovered. So basically, we are running Subfinder. We get the domains. We also run any AMAS or AMAS, I don't know. Then from the domains that we can yeah, I don't know. We just sort them and filter out so that you can have the only unique domains. So as you can see, for that one, it has at least this 14. Yeah, it has some 14 subdomains that were discovered. We can see that DNS was, or DNSX was able to pass some of these domains. So mostly checks for CNAMEs, IPs, etc. So you can see that the first four pretty much have IPs, some doesn't have a CNAME. We go down, so some are missing. So I think this is something that I need to look at. If they're missing either a CNAME or an IP, we can do away with them. Then we have, yeah, so that's pretty much it. So these are the results of DNSX. If you want to recon on these IPs, you can just export these. Once you export that, I don't know, yeah, you're like, okay, so view your CSV file. So so in this CSV, we have that data that we have extracted from DNSX. So we can take some of these IPs and proceed with further scans if need be. Then we have now the live hosts. The live host in this case, we are using HTTPX on several ports. So I think in my, let me see, let me be able to see this. Let me check quickly. Uh, okay, so this is the code. Uh, so what did we just run the subdomain scan? Okay, awesome. So you can see how we implemented all of these tools. We have Subfinder, we have Amas, and we have DNSX, we have HTTPX. So yeah, so this is how we are running HTTPX. So in this case, we are testing it against any. Okay, let's start with here. So this is providing a list. So this is getting generated from the subdomains that we initially get using subfinder and amas. So that's the list we store it temporarily. So that's when I think you can see how we define this temp input. Then we have the results in the output format as JSON, so that you can be able to pass and also render them on that tool that we're using. Then we have the output now folder being the temp output. So still we are still saving them temporarily in the temp directory, setting them silence, blah blah blah. So you're looking for what you're fetching is maybe if you can get to detect the titles, we get to detect the technology behind this. So this is what I had mentioned when I mentioned about web analyze. So which pretty much does the same, but again, I think with two tools you can never go wrong. Then you're also looking for status codes, content length, web server, etc. and etc. So for web server, this is just doing some web server fingerprinting. So this is when we want to see maybe it is running on nginx, what's the version, if that's already linked in the headers and whatnot. Then we're running it on the ports. So we want to discover, we want to see if either of these will get passed on these ports. So the most common one is, of course, is port 80. We have 443, 8080, 8443, 3000. Yeah, all that. Then we are running this at least to make it pretty much fast. We are running it with at least 100 threads. So that's how we end up getting this information. So as you can see, so we have these URLs, or rather, this is the input that we provided. This is now the output, as you have seen in this logic itself. So yes, so we provided. Uh, hello. Yeah, so we did provide the list of subdomains. This now we can check this. Yes, this probably seems to have some web server running on it, but again, it's behind CloudFront. So I guess, yeah, on port 80 it gets a redirect to port 443. So that's what we have here. So have API, so we can see that it doesn't have a title that was picked up rather, but we can see that the web server was nginx. The content length didn't get passed, but again, the tool cost. Also, if this is not enough, you can just expand the page. You should be able to see now everything. We can see the technology is here for this. Okay, so support, they have the behind conflict. So once uh, our tool hit the home page, it made capture. That's pretty normal and expected. We have also any task, so we can see it's Amazon S3 rather. You can see some of the technologies that were detected on that, etc. etc. So yes, so these are just of the 14 subdomains that we found. If you filter these results, I think other than these few duplicates because of I don't know the redirects, because Emia got redirected. It is so yeah, that's pretty much it on that. I don't know. So yeah, I think we messed something up with the Manini, with how I'm passing the results. I think I should check one of the Python files. Then so this is where I get to use now Subnova. So again, in my implementation I made it a little bit optional. By optional, I mean like so it doesn't run when this runs. So as you see, we have combined uh, we have combined Subfinder, Amas, DNSX, and HTTPX so that we can see this. But for the subdomain takeover scan, we made it a little bit optional. So you need to run it manually. So okay. So initially, as I said, I was using DNSX, but I later shifted to Subnova. So I changed that in the backend, but I forgot to update here. So, but again, we can still run it and see how it
Oh,
turns out.
yes, crabs, lobster, garlic bread. Oh, this is nice. Fish rice. Ooh.
Hi, maybe two. Yeah, good. Sorry for that. And so yes, so for the subdomain takeover, so the tool I'm using, so as you can see, this nothing is vulnerable here, but it gives you some extra information. Maybe so as you can see, yeah. So if you run the tool manually, so I still need to pass this as it should be passed, but I saw it was taking quite a while. Yeah, so I didn't get to pretty do much with it, but I think if you check in the logs for our tool, you can see how we are running it. So we are running Subdova, we provide the list. This is now the temporary input format being JSON. So as you, if we run Subdova uh, by itself, so we like sub, then so you see it has some of these more options that we could probably use. Threads or to make it a bit faster. Yeah, it's pretty simple, I would say, but still serves the purpose. So if you want to run on a single subdomain, you can use the case. So in our case, as you can see here, we are running it on a tackle to provide the list and also the output format being JSON. Nothing to do with threads, but we can still add that. We can also, I don't know, is it here? Uh, Let me just search. My apologies. I'm not using. I don't use. I don't know. But I don't use VS Code. I have nothing against it. I just prefer using this vanilla Sublime text basically. So okay, Subdova. I get a CMD for it. Yeah, I think it's not good fixing things on the go. Fly rather. So what does it run? Awesome. Yeah. So I think around here we should probably be able to add the threads. So as we saw here, maybe we can run this with, but we also give it like 100 threads. Uh, yep. Okay, cool. So we have added a new feature on the fly, I would say. It's fun. Yes, so I think that's pretty much what we can do with this subdomain scan and takeover. So for all these results, you're free to export them. The default format, as we saw in this config, is a CSV. So I think pretty much other tools use that as well. So nothing unique to that. Then we have this module for port scanning. So we say, yeah, maybe you can choose from here. So I didn't, as I said, I didn't care much about the port scanning because it's quite noisy. But I think I can introduce another functionality where it takes the subdomains instead of the target that you have specified. So in this case, we have a dynamic target where you get to choose which of these subdomains that you want to run a passcon on. Then we can choose between nmap and mascan. Also, we can introduce naabu because as you saw, it's quite easy to introduce a new functionality. So as you can see, this is now the tool that we have for port scanning. We have pretty much taking advantage of some processes and multi-threading in Python, etc. No, it's not the best. Go probably takes that, but yeah, it happens. So you can say, okay, so for nmap, oh, okay. So you also have Nabu for some reason, yeah, but again, I did it in the back end, forgot to do it in the front end. I'll do that a little later, but if someone was going through the code and have that, please do it so that you can push it. Then, so from the subdomains we found, so these I don't know. Yeah. So from this, as you can see, there are 14 URLs. So this JavaScript scan or the JavaScript analysis will be using the live hosts that we discovered using HTTPX. Then be looking for any JS files basically. So let's just run it. Let's see. So you can see we start with get.js. I think after get.js, so JS got like for JavaScript files. Then yeah, awesome. So let's see what was discovered. So yep, not even four. They're like two because there's a duplication on the ports. Then we can see now the endpoints that were discovered. So we can see that okay, yeah. So based on what was found in the JavaScript file, so some of these are the endpoints. So these was probably discovered using link finder. So it tries to append the results to the provided URL. So you can see these I don't know. See, see whether this one is solves. Yeah. So what we can do, no, help no longer needed port 80. Let's check whether that exists. Yeah, probably need to a redirect and yeah. Okay. Yep. Pretty normal. Some of these pages might be dead. Sometimes you just get lucky. You can see that we still have there's this UTM source. Can maybe just that. You have action addresses, admin. I don't know. Maybe that's from an old JS file. I don't think that will still be around. And yep. So some of these are the directories that now, if you run the typical, maybe we call it directory brute force, and maybe using deep search and similar tools, probably FF, you might not be able to get maybe a page like orders that behind the admin page, mostly because that might need authentication. Well, I know some tools currently do support that as a feature. You can have you can provide the cookies and then you can do direct spoilering with that cookie. You can see, so these are some of the pages that we discovered. Say admin task, username, you can see something like admin task approve users, then hash. So I don't know. So depending on the methodology that you're using, some of these might lead to I don't know, some pretty cool findings. Then we have this page. I think that's where you got stuck. This thing. The previous one that we got anyway. Let's see whether the admin one exists. So we are not authenticated yet. So that I don't know. Say not not authenticated. So that will just ignore a request. But if you're authenticated, you can test some of these things. You can see there's some, I don't know, it's pretty interesting to me. I'm seeing, I don't know whether that was a genuine one, but let's see. So, of course, okay, yep. But yeah, so it's pretty much what Link Finder does on a CLI, but then the results are getting passed and they're getting printed on the page. So as you can see, so all these okay, we have a GraphQL. Let's test it out. And GraphQL quite interesting. Okay, yeah. So probably be an odd, probably an odd, probably an odd JS file that used to contain it. Then we have index. Yeah, we pretty have much of these. You can see the list is quite endless, I should say. So you can see even the bucket inventory, whatsoever. Okay, some of the images again. GraphQL on another socket. I don't know. Maybe probably this one is out of scope, but I hope this is a public platform. Yeah, so you can see that these on these GraphQL endpoints. So as you saw, we didn't have to brute force anything. We just pretty much ran a tool that will just fetch the files and analyze them. So would call this pretty much interesting. So invalid URI format. Uh, yeah, so maybe I don't know. No hints on this. Just you just saw it. You run with it. If you get a bug, good for you. Then we can see some other hidden functionalities. So this, I think, this would match the duplicates of the previous one that ran on port 80. But yeah, if you had more subdomains and more JS files, you could get more. So it's pretty much fun that way. So yeah, let's see, out of 511. So we pretty much got at least 250, 250 unique endpoints or ish. I don't know. Then from there, then okay. So yeah, so this one didn't go through our fact.js to check for well, did run. Yeah. So in this case, through those JS files, so our tool here didn't find any, I would say, any interesting discoveries. But again, it's not always right. So we can test it manually here. Okay. Yep. See how it is run. Target. Yeah. And we can just feed it one. So okay, yeah. Feed it, guys. Oh, yep. So we have at least 20 more minutes, but I think we can still get to manage that time. So yes, so let's try to run our manually. Let's see what we can get from this and see whether our tool is actually helpful in any manner. So we will subbed over. We can do with that. Let's provide this. Let's fit this with this target anyway. Uh, okay. I don't know. Can I? Yeah. It's not better way to do it. So let's see. Um, seconds. Yeah, second. Say yeah. So the data for this is null. So if FactJS found anything useful in that file, it would have told us. Let's also see how we did get to run our subfinder. So I think I provided it with I don't know input, and we take this link again as our input, and so our output would be CLI. Think so? Yeah. So you say so yes. So once you run our tool, you see you get to discover or rather see all these endpoints. So some of these might not be directly tied to the root, but some of these might be. So we go to this, so that's what we see here. So they get appended at the end. And now we get to, so I still can get to confirm whether these pages are live, maybe using HTTPX, but again, still the tool is far from complete, I believe so, because you have several features that you haven't implemented yet. But I'm mostly quite busy on my schedule, so I have to either do this on the evenings or maybe on weekends. But I saw it was better if I had help from other guys. So that's pretty much it on this JS part. Then you have the tech detection. So the first thing you do once you install the tool is just update the definition. So every time you run it, you at least assured that you get the latest, I don't know, technologies.json. So maybe if something is a recent technology, you get to see it here. So, hey, yeah, failed to update. Why? Okay, so can get to troubleshoot that. So if you have tried it, you can tell us whether it works. But we can see that yes, it works. So for the subdomains that we had run before, you get to see the technologies that it gets to detect, also the categories that categorizes them, and also now where the technology belongs. So it is an ELS, lead it there. Yep, so pretty much, I don't know. So for this one, it's not giving us any direct hits per se, but again, depends on the scope that you're running and also the, let's say, uh, what yeah, depends on how you pick your target anyway. Then we have now, so for this one, I don't know, I called it vulnerability detection because that's where I had introduced our SQLite timer. So where is that other page? So that's why I was using this SQLite timer. It's a pretty cool tool for time-based SQLite injections, but it's pretty hard to implement on a tool. So I think it's a pretty new tool per se. Let's see. Yep. So when I said new, it's pretty new. It's only been two months out there. So the idea I had was that I could now start with parameter spider or param spider to get our parameters. We run our parameters through GF patterns. So when you are filtering for those specific to SQLi, then those that have been detected, they forward them to now SQLi timer. As you can see, I don't know what happened. I probably changed my mind midway because I found it a little bit complex. So yeah, but you can still return it. So if anyone feels up for the task, you can probably do it for us. We will appreciate. So currently, what we are doing, for these, I have parameter spider and GF patterns. GF and GF patterns, mostly for SQLi, XSS, LFI, etc. So I wish let me see how I've implemented that. Where is it? Uh, Here. So yeah, so this is after now I did away with the SQLite timer. So this is what I settled with. Settled with Param Spider. So Python tool, you have probably have to push it to path after. So that's why I was saying maybe you find the tool installation quite technical. I don't know. I don't know, but it's not a good sign. But yeah, should be possible to install those tools and get to run it simple and also in a uniform manner. So, okay, so let's see how you have implemented our. Okay, so for Param Spider, well, I don't know. Mostly, I don't like its functionality that much because even if you provide maybe a subdomain, you still get low. Okay. Yeah, so what I'm doing is that so once I get the parameters, I get to pass them through uh, GF patterns. Then from there, so it gets to sort them out in either of these patterns. So I think in either of these patterns, they're sorted. We have SQLi, XSS, LFI, Open Redirects, RCE, SSRF, and IDOR. So these are the most common GF patterns that I found there. So I think in my list, my GF patterns list is quite I took all the lists that I could get and put them in a single directory. So I don't know. I think I have them somewhere here. So these, yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether this is a final one or this was a final one. Yeah, but what I know is that for all they still get used. So can also maybe in our tool. So as you said, we're using SSS, SRF. Maybe you can also have for these. Yeah, we can also include everything that we also see here because everything will be passed. We get passed in the tool. That's the best part about using the GUI. So let's start. So for the domains that we have, so we're using param spider. So it will just try and discover any of the parameters that it can find. We pass those results through GF patterns, then we get to see our results on this page. That one might take some time. So I don't know. In the meantime, if it does, what else should we be discussing? I don't know. Ah, yeah, but I know it doesn't take that much time. So if it takes a little while or longer, it means maybe I don't know, maybe the URLs are many. Then from there needs to be passed. So that's what it's doing in the background. So yeah, this is how we are running it. Start day. So let's see whether there's some parameters that we could add to it. Uh, which well, yeah, it's pretty. I don't know. It's not. Uh, pretty straightforward. So either provide it with a domain or a list of domains. In our case, I think we're just going domain by domain instead of list. I think we can still change to a list, but still you have now to include some of those other things. These areas for web analyze. Okay. So yeah, so this is what I was talking about. So instead of now performing the scans, so we get to extract these parameters. So we can see that there's a parameter called per page based on GF patterns. So per page is common for LFIs, also common for SSRF. You can see there's also this one for jobs owner, the status. So this is common for XSS. And so forth and so forth. So you can see at least now, if you have now a secondary scanner for either of these, you can see owner, the owner has a parameter by name username. So it's common for SQLIs, are pretty much the same. A page in this case. Eh, well, yeah, I hope you guys get the point. But so yeah, so this is where I was like, okay, yeah, I think with that now the tool should fly. So this duplication, I look into it and see how I can sort it out, but it doesn't affect our results anyway. Yeah, so then from here, so let's just pick anything random. So pretty sure, you know, I don't know, maybe yeah. So think anything on the main domain. I don't know. So XSS. Yeah. So if you want to run your secondary scans, you can take over from here. So as you can see, we have matched some of these patterns to using GF patterns. So if you want to test further on these parameters, you can proceed with your favorite tools. So yeah, that's pretty much the capabilities we have. And now if we go back to dashboard, uh, yeah, we can see, so yeah, I need to rename this, but you can see that we have 14 subdomains. We didn't run a port scan. For the JS files, I don't know, didn't get the number correctly. Takeovers, so there is also the takeover. So this, I think, is just taking the metric based on the CSV files and what we have. So I think it's counting the number of rows in those files. So then we get to render that. Pretty, I don't know, it's fancy. But again, so instead of navigating all the way through Recon and seeing what we had done, we can just view them from here. So we can start with GF what the patterns that we, the parameters rather that we found. And see they are rendered there, JS endpoints that were discovered in the JavaScript files. You can also see them here. Then we also have the JS files. So even if they don't get into the metrics, you can get to see them here. We have the live hosts as confirmed by HTTPX. They're here. Resolved subdomains. So these the domains that were resolved using DNSX. You can see their results here. The subdomain takeovers using subdover. We can also see the results here. We can see that it is not vulnerable, so there's no need to proceed with anything on that unless, I don't know. Then you have now the domains, the initial domains that were discovered, and the technologies per subdomain. So that's pretty much on the reconnaissance. So as you see, I don't know. And now we can come now to the scanner. So yeah, so interestingly, so once you pick a target, You can use the live host because again, so live host means they pretty much have a web page, so you can click on there. I don't know. Find this pretty bright for my eyes, but I can change it later. But again, so you can't get to select the URLs that you want to run the scan for. So then after that, you get to provide maybe you get to choose which directory that you want to run the release from. So let me pick an example. As I said I will not use a live host for this. I will use the honeypot provided by Project Discovery for such scans. So you can say that okay, let's say a single URL and okay, yeah. Uh, So yeah, so by default, this is getting the placeholder is the domain that you have in the project. So in the project, you're not limited to adding a single domain. So go back to if we go back to Recon, we can see that well, we can choose a target that we have already filled or enter a new domain. So maybe we can say maybe mail or whatever. So if that so if assume it's a very large project whereby you can get multiple what page am I sharing? Because someone to confirm which page they are seeing. Anyone? Hello.
The one for reconnaissance tools.
Awesome, awesome. Because I think so. On my second screen, what I'm seeing is probably something on Sublime Text. Okay, so yeah, we can proceed. So as I was saying, so assuming you have a very large, maybe have a large scope, so you can also maybe so other than let's say any task card like some any xy here.com also which was an asterisk, you can add it. It will do the same thing, but now they'll be in the same project per se. So once you go to the projects, you get to see the summaries here and the domain as the target. So let's say I know some of the projects have like those large scopes. You may be find anytask.com, they have any something.se, whatever. So yeah, we pretty much have that. So that's why when we come here, this is picking from what we had set in our initial what we had set in our initial what we had set in our initial project as a domain. Let's see whether we can add that domain that I was talking about, down that we can test whether our nini is working. Okay, so okay, we have to add it to the project then. So let's see. We go to the projects. Okay, Recon. We add a new target domain. So this one will be scanme.sh. I click on enter. So this one will be pretty fast, but I don't need to go through what we did again. So let's just come to the scanner now. If we come here, okay, okay, let me enter it here instead. So in case I just want to run something that's not in my current not in the current project, scan me, yeah, .sh. And now, as I said, so this is what it is pretty much doing. So it's creating as a process that gets to view these files in real time. So since I have specified, I think in my config.json I had these nuclei templates. So once I load this page here and I click, I need to select the nuclei template category. It pretty much navigates to that directory. So I think it's pretty somewhere here. So yes, if you look here and also check, let me see whether they can do a side by side. I don't know. So if you do a side by side, you can see that it's picking the folders as they appear, starting with cloud, code, DST, DNS, whatsoever. So in our current scan, what would probably run it against would be, let's pick anything HTTP. Yep. Also, if you have like a custom, I don't know, you can also pick a specific YAML file that you want to run. So if you're a CV hunter and you want to maybe use run just a single YAML file, you can choose the subdomains from your reconnaissance, so you get all of these, and then you get to specify the nucleate template that you want to run against. So it's pretty much straightforward. So again, I want just a single URL. I have to specify it here. So again, uh, forget me. Yep. And now we just so be instructing Nuclei to run HTTP templates, all of them against this one. And I might have messed up something, but let's see whether it works. Yeah, I might have introduced some. I don't know. Yeah, let's see whether it is running anyway. Oh, that. Yeah, it's a lot of things. What was this error for? Let's foreground the process because one target. Yeah, it's running. I don't know whether they'll be able to see the results, but because yeah, okay, let's just give it time. In the meantime, we can be looking at that code itself. Uh, yeah, these are yeah, it's pretty long, but we need to do away with that thing. Uh, uh, so, yeah, okay. So yeah, we can do away with that later, but let's give it some time, see what it runs. Because I know I did change something, so this is not the one that's hosted. I think this was my development environment. So once it is done, it should be able to render the results. So let's see how it does that. So they'll be grouped on severity and also what else? I don't know. How these and these. Which one is it? So the results will have something like this. So the template ID. If the template has an ID, then from the results also get the name of that template that got used, the severity that was basically picked up, the host that we ran on, matched at, so probably the time. So these are typical nuclei results. So we're just passing the JSON based on a sample from nuclei. Yep. So then we also have the tags, the differences, and also the full details. So basically, in our tool, that all gets passed, and then it's spitted out in a CSV thing here. So I don't know. That is pretty much boring having to wait. I think previously you should have been able to see some of those results here. Yeah, we have something there to fix. Results should be printed once complete. Okay. See what we can be doing in the meantime. That thing will pretty much take a while. The reason for that is because it's a honeypot, so it was made in such a way that it will probably show as as a hit for most, if not all the, at least the majority of the templates that we have. So yeah, pretty much takes a while. That's why I wanted it to be foregrounded so that we can see the progress in the foreground. But yeah, we can't have. We can't. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome, guys. I've seen we have now 7 folks to our nini. So I think some guys are jumping onto some of these bugs. I call them bugs. But yeah, it's pretty much fun. Okay. Did I actually fix this? Sometimes it doesn't work. Well, well and good. We can revisit. Sometimes I see was supposed to take only 1 hour, so I hope with your permission I can continue so that we can do this one and maybe part ways. But if it doesn't work within the next maybe 5 to 10 minutes, I can just free you guys so that if I get a fix for it, probably share a video in the group. But as you can see, it was fun. So making the meeting, can start taking any suggestions, questions, maybe a feature request if need be. But as I said, my time is pretty much fixed. I have my schedule is pretty tight at the moment, but yeah, if I can, maybe I will do it. If I cannot, maybe I will see. Maybe if I get some free time on a weekend, might do it, because I think there's still that part of reporting. So this one isn't working, to be honest. I tried using latex, whereby I had dynamic, I think dynamic PDF reports, but that's on a different project, I think. I see. Yeah, so that was on a different project, only because I had another tool that I was creating, but then it got so much complicated that I stopped. Yep. So if we do Sabel on this, so you can see. So yeah. So this one. So this one was what I was supposed to release, but again, I did so much. I did so much that I got lost. So yep, created so many things that yeah. So the functionality, because of the time issues. So if I do something today, then come back after 3 days later, I won't be won't be remembering most of everything. But pretty hard the functionalities that we do. Although now I was using some other tools like Excel Finder, also using XURL Finder. So these are still something so these are working. We can still get to return them to rather implement them in our current tool. But if we have time, you can jump on it. So yeah, any questions, suggestions as we wait?
Hello. K0imet.
Yeah, fiti.
Swali sasa
najiuliza ni umeona hii story ya watu kutumia agents kufanya cyber kama mtu mwenye ako top hakawan mwenye ako top. I think the workflow ni kind of similar ama probably as much as una switch agents labda ni rag ama mcp. I think the standard flow ni kama hii. Anyone mwenye ameona rags zikitumika is the flow kind of hii ya kufanya scripting but kama better workflow yake ni gani since ni swali tu juu sijui vile kona hiyo nimekuwa nikifikiria for some time.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting question. So I would say I'm not quite sure because, well, in most of the interviews or podcasts, which I mostly don't listen to, so if I say most, I'd be lying. But in what I've listened to, some of them, so the guys will just give their basic methodologies. So I think there's Nahamsek, ukiangalia videos zake, you see some of these guys wakifanya. Maybe they're showcasing their methodologies. They're given like a target, like what we did. So they pretty much use most of these tools that we have here, but now how they utilize the results is what will be different. So from our case, we just see some of these results. We are like, okay, so maybe this is behind a login page whatsoever needs authentication. But again, that's where now manual hunting comes in. Also, there are some guys that stick fully to automated. So again, there are various I don't know, there are various call methodologies out there. There's no standard, so kuna yenye ina fit kila mse, so some will go for automation, wengine they won't even go for the subdomain scans, they just pick the list that's provided, see what they can do with the domains, what they can discover, nini. So yeah, it's pretty much that. Question?
Yeah, on the chat nimepost my suggestions which mtu mwenye atataka ku add some features maybe anaweza consider. So maybe sijui zingine zitakuwa easy juu kuna tools zingine juu maybe ni websites wenye zinahitaji
Yeah, so
credentials.
yeah. Okay, yeah. So here, favicon hash. Well, I was looking into this. I think this was probably, was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday, but I was working on something different, so sikupata time ya kuiweka. So I think I don't know. Bado tujafika weekend, so I think over the weekend I can do it for some of these. So for wayback URLs, I think so. What we have as a sample of wayback URLs in your param spider, but still doesn't work as we want. Then secrets in JS that we have using FactJS or FAKJS is the alternative to secret finder. So if you have any secrets in a JS file, throw them out. So one thing I can say that the project learned limit. So in the JS files there was mostly nothing. So we couldn't get some of that juicy information. But I think when you were doing a demo the other day when you needed documentation, I think the target that we chose had some interesting files. So and some interesting discoveries, some API keys, but at least we know for them they were. We didn't get how they could be exploited, etc. But yeah, it's pretty much cool. Subwiz that I can check on that. Senses, Zumai, Aristotle. So that's for subdomain scans. So I think the tool that I was talking about, if I had mentioned, I think I had mentioned about hey, what's the name? What's the name? What's the name? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I think in the previous one, the previous tool that I had, I had this except finder. So if I go to the GitHub page, I don't know. I don't. If I go to their GitHub page, I'm pretty sure they have integrated the use of a trace virus total. Maybe yeah. Let's see from there. Let's read from there, Nini. Because it's a pretty good alternative to Subfinder. So I think you can also integrate it and see from what we get. So you can see that they're using senses. They're using B. I've never heard of that. I don't want to pronounce it, but yeah. So yeah, it does integrate more sources. So I think this is big up to Alex Munene. It's a pretty cool tool that he worked on here. Then I think for Virus Total, I think he had the functionality for Virus Total. That was a while ago. So still does it. But we can say Anatomia Senses. So what we can collaborate on maybe even with him is to have maybe Isaac Inazuma. For CRT.sh, I think, I don't know, I had seen something on that. So yeah, so they're cool suggestions. So I might not guarantee to be able to do everything, but I can do what I can basically. But I don't know. But that's when I get some time. So again, since it is open source and the code, everything in the code is there, pretty simple as you can see the tools. So you just if you're adding a new module, you add it in the tools. Then you want to add a page for it, you can add it here. So yeah, you just using Streamlit. So I don't think you need to learn about Streamlit per se. It's pretty easy to nini on the go. So yeah, this is the nitamaliza. I think there's something I messed up. Well, I'm trying to fix it on the go unless I find the previous code. I don't know. The iterations are many, so I don't know how much I want to. Maybe I didn't have the backups, but I think I can probably work on a fix. Yeah. Other questions, suggestions, feedback? Nothing. Let's see whether I can get.
I think hiyo feature ya nuclear template yenye mtu anaweza add nini custom template itasaidia hawa watu wa kuhunt for CV mail hapo ushapata.
Yes, Mila amepata nini bana, anafaa buy kahawa bana. Huku kwenye niko baridi inanimaliza. God damn. But yeah, so as I said, so I don't know, acha nione kama naweza fix on the go where they can get the old code. If we can get nini because it works pretty well. So uh, shit. Okay. Awesome. So let's refresh. Aha. Okay. So yeah, we want the HTTP. Then we enter the domain manually. So scanme.sh and we start. Okay. So I hope this one should be at least faster than the old one. quite sub-processing the brick somewhere. Yeah. Okay. See, okay, let's see the nuclei we had. Let's run it manually. Copy CMD nuclei. Can't seem to get plans. Issue hapa kwanza. Save. Start again. Scanning the video. Okay, so I just your functionality. That's pretty much boring. But yeah, so if we ever get to get it running, I think check on what we have hosted. Because then tutanini, I'll just push it and you guys can check it out. Kama mko wenye mmenini, when you have created a fork of the tool, you can also share what you have near end. So let's see whether this one is working. So yeah, we have no errors so far. Let's see. It's not logging the command we use, but yeah, so let's have nuclei here and so we look for the nuclei command. We are running it and it's still silent. The flag T, then we provide a person. That's T dot scan me H. So we don't want it to be silent. What we want to do is to spit out what it has. So still now we have no idea that this is running. I don't know. And that after the old code that was working, when we do provide the templates. So template path view. Okay. I think target also works. Let's see whether manual one will work. See what we need to change, but I'm pretty sure we got it right ish. I don't know. is what I was saying. So if we run it on our Nini, we still get this. So the first we'll get is a template, the category, the severity in Nini. So I think that's also what's running up. But if only we can get to see the results. So yep, it will take a long while because it gets to discover most of all these. But yeah, so that's pretty much. So if you provide a single domain, that this is now what we have implemented. So if you have provided a single domain, once you specify it's a single domain, to get run with the tag queue. And got blocked or what the okay, yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much everything on the tool that we have currently. We've gotten some good suggestions, so you just copy these and have it uh, copy image, have it on my to-do list once I get time. I can, as I said again, I cannot guarantee that I will, but yeah, if someone is willing maybe to collaborate on the same, that would be pretty cool. But yeah. Okay. So let me make it a little noisy. So let's see whether it is actually running. Oh, as you can see, yeah, it is working actually. So if we remove the silent thing, we see it will give us what it has found. So we can see that it has already found now CV 25, 2015. So yeah, but what I wanted to show was maybe how it shows the results and passes them once it is done. Then you can export to a CSV, which again, so I think most, even an environment that takes what we call VA reports of vulnerability analysis reports, sort of, yeah, as, you can just hand in the CSV. You just have to add some columns, maybe some rows, and all will be well. Oh, so, unfortunately, now it won't tell us what it has found, but at least we know. Let these on. Oh, it's a totally different one. It's Chocozyte again. Ah, awesome. Yeah. So luckily it was almost done. And also now you can see now a summary of what it has so far. So you can see that severity is by medium. We have a 42. For high you have 11. Criticals you have 6. Info you have 3. Then yes. So this is what we have. So yeah. You can even sort. You can even sort them by how you want them. So you can see that yeah, there's a template ID. So for the I don't know, man. These new templates recognize our IDs. So you can see the name, GraphQL, any. So it's informational. I think up here we can sort with the severity that we want. So mediums, you can also sort for what else? So I think in the current one, you got two mediums and no, it has, yeah. So if we export this to a CSV, as I was talking out, we download that, then we open that. I don't know. Yeah. So if you wanted a report that you can clean up easily, if you are doing like this, not unnecessary. This you cannot share to in a PT. What you can share this is maybe vulnerability scan of something, like how you share those open something. What is it called? OpenVerse, yes. So I think this is the same thing that OpenVerse does. So it gives you pretty much of this. So yeah, template ID, the name of the vulnerability, severity, host, matched at, and also now, so I think the matched at gives you like the location of where this vulnerability has been found at. So yeah, so I don't know. So that's how I was able to implement this Nini. Yeah, and still ongoing. So at least you can print out like some live results. So then now if you go back to app, it was projects. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it is not in our current project. So if you go back to scanner, yep, tutaona easy. But yeah, scan completed. So I think now it has run and been saved to project. Right. Let's see the dashboard. Let's see. So let's copy. Well, I think that's a problem for another day. So yeah, so you can see how it runs. Pretty cool, pretty fast. If you are using maybe if you're doing mass scanning and maybe you have a very fast VPS and the likes. So yeah, you can see we have severity as 114 for mediums, 54 highs, information of 16, criticals are 12, and a low. So yeah, we saw that you can sort by ascending, then maybe descending. Descending kind of works. And so that's pretty much everything that I had to show today. So yeah, cheers guys for those who persisted through the session. I think it was cool. And I enjoyed my time. I hadn't tested the tools to these levels before. Just creating it. So yeah, pleasure for your time. So I think okay, stop sharing my screen now. If there's any extra what extra feedback, you can drop it to my DMs on WhatsApp or Twitter maybe. But cheers guys.